All right, everybody, welcome to the Journey Jiu-Jitsu Podcast, number 2. Today's topic is competition and Coleman's ADCC experience. Do we have any, before we get right into it, do we have any shout-outs on any of our students or anything like that?
You got shout-outs, Bill?
Maybe let's shout out the competitors who competed last weekend. Was it the weekend before last?
Weekend before.
Grappling Industries?
Yeah, everybody went out and killed
We
it.
had Grappling Industries, Wisconsin Dells. It's like our local event that we go to. Journey did pretty well. Our team did pretty well. You guys have any thoughts on that? Maybe shout out to all the competitors.
I think, all the competitors did really well.
We just posted a thing on our Facebook page. We won pretty decisively in that tournament compared to the number 2, 3, and 4. I think we have 12 golds altogether. Yeah. And way more points. So
I think our win-loss was like 2-1 or a little bit more. So like 63 wins to 36 losses. So crushed it.
So Journey took first place in the team standings for the adults, right? And
second
for kids.
Yeah.
So shout out to those kids too, because they helped us get that second place as well. We got 2 big giant medals for it. Yeah. Other big news, if you didn't see the email that dropped the other day, the big news is that we're moving. Journey Jiu-Jitsu is moving to a bigger facility. It's going to be our long-term, I think, stronghold. Probably used the wrong word there because there's another jiu-jitsu academy called Stronghold, but it's going to be our fortress, okay? It's going to be our new kingdom. And a couple of the things you should know about it is, first of all, it's near Fish Hatchery Road and Greenway Cross, but also that we're taking our mat space, imagine our mat space right now, and multiply it by 3. That'll be mat space number 1, and mat space number 2 will be our exact mat space just brought over to that second training area. And then we'll still have space to spare, possibly for workout equipment, anything we kind of figure out what we want over time. So that's big news.
Seen it. It's sick. It's going to be super cool. Super excited for the future on that place. So really nice spot. Can't wait to get in there.
So right now it's April the 4th, something like that?
Yeah.
So what kind of time frame are we looking at here for our members and anyone that might be listening?
We are looking at the week of Memorial Day. So normally we're closed on Memorial Monday. We'll be closed for that entire week. And that's when we'll be moving. The majority of the move will be done and cleaning up in here and kind of getting it back to rentable condition here. So
sweet.
Classes at the new place in June then? Is that what we're...
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right now,
it's exciting.
Heck yeah, man.
2 months will fly by before we know it.
Yep.
So kind of now that we're past the announcements, and you guys can send me any questions you have by email about the move, whatever you want, but jumping into competition, let's just talk about, first of all, since we had this Grappling Industries and Coleman had the ADCC West Coast Trials. Let's talk about what is the main difference between the feel of competing and just like how you roll in the gym.
Yeah, well, I think it's very different. The intensity is going to be the biggest thing that you feel the difference of, because you can go hard here in training, but at the end of the day, you still care about your partner. They're still your friend, somebody you see all the time. When you go out on the mats, they're your enemy. So the intensity is much different. People are coming to get the win, get the sub, and they're not going to take it easy. So that's by far the biggest difference. The speed, the intensity is just a different level for sure.
Would you agree with that, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like as soon as, even as a coach or even a spectator, really, if you're there watching a friend or a family member compete, it's like as soon as you walk in the room, you just feel the energy change, the nervous energy, the anxious vibes in the room. Yeah, that's the biggest difference, I think, is like Holman was saying, the intensity and just the overall atmosphere.
I'm getting it right now, just talking about it, thinking about it, getting a little like, yeah.
What happens to your jiu-jitsu under those high-stakes, nervous conditions?
I think
You talking about Coleman or?
Just in general, overall.
I feel like it kind of gets boiled down a little bit, and it goes down to the things that you just have done over and over and over. Not so much because of the speed, because of the stress that's put on you. You don't have as much time to sit there and think, so it's much more just reaction based. So probably the stuff that like you're like just starting to try and practice isn't something that you're going to be implementing in that sort of situation. It's something that like you've repped over and over and over and over again. So kind of just goes to your A game. Yeah.
For sure.
On the whole, would you say your jiu-jitsu is worse or better? Like quality in terms of technicality and whatnot in a competition setting or in recreational setting?
I think that is really dependent on the person, and that's just like any athlete that goes out and competes in any sort of discipline. Some people rise to the occasion and they're much better out on the mats, and some people kind of like choke up a little bit. So I think it really depends on like who you are. Personally, I feel like mine gets a little bit worse. Yeah.
I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. We've all competed, some of us more than others, but my jiu-jitsu does definitely downgrades a couple steps.
The gas tank downgrades about 10 steps, feels like.
Boy, does it ever.
It's just I think Coleman was onto it there. A lot of it comes down to experience, but the way people deal with the nerves, I think, is a big factor there. How much do you let the nerves kind of eat up your gas tank before the match? A lot of people are already their legs are already gone before the match starts, and I think everyone has their own way of dealing with this, but how you handle the nerves and the anxious feeling leading up to the tournament, leading up to the first match, a lot of times can dictate what the outcome's going to be. And usually after that first match, you kind of caught your second wind and it kind of improves from there. But man, I think for new people, just knowing how to manage that gas tank in your first match of the day is tough.
Absolutely. That's what I tell like every first time competitor is like, make your movement count. You're going to be surprised after the match on how bad your forearms like hurt because you had no idea that the whole time you were just grabbing the person as hard as you could the whole match. So, yeah, everybody has different styles. People have asked me in the past on like how to deal with nerves. And again, that's just another thing that like competition in itself, competing in itself is like a skill. And you kind of have to learn what works best for you. Some people like to visualize. Other people like to not even think about it until like they're right there at the edge of the mat. So it kind of comes down to you and what works best for you, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing things and like leading up to when you actually get called out. But then when your name gets called and you go up there, that's when you have that oh shit moment. And then I just remember my first match, how tired I was. I'm like, this is unbelievable. You don't think you can do another match like just off that first time. You're like, I don't know if I have the physical capability to do more matches, but you end up doing it and you can. Would you say because of where your level's at and who you've gone up against, some of the higher level guys you've fought, would you say that you're not nearly as nervous anymore in grappling industries, more local competition?
Not at all. I would say that I'm more nervous for the local tournaments, just because what my goals are, what I want to do with my jiu-jitsu. I feel added pressure to win decisively in those local tournaments, and anything less than that is a failure. So I feel a lot of added pressure on Grappling Industries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I already have an idea how you'll respond to this, but do you feel more pressure competing when all your friends and students and teammates are there, or when you're just there by yourself?
Absolutely. When people are there watching me, yeah, added pressure, certainly. You don't want to let all those people down. So yeah, I remember doing my first absolute tournament, and it's in the morning, and all of the kids go in the morning as well. So all of the kids class students are there watching me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot lose here. I need to win in front of the kids. So yeah, way more pressure when people are there watching you.
I bet it's difficult to compete and coach your team on the same event, huh?
Exhausting. I mean, that's what the competitors don't see the side of, but like when we're running around, we're yelling the whole time. We're like invested in them winning and doing well. It's pretty taxing. Just like, it doesn't look like, obviously not we're out there competing, but I mean, it's there's some strain to it. So yeah, when you do both, it's that added layer to it.
And it's a different focus. Like, and when I'm in the mindset of competing, like, I don't want anybody to talk to me. I want to be I isolate myself a little bit in my mind. So anyway, but that's good to get a little sense of that. We're talking about the ADCC today because, like we said before, Coleman just competed this weekend. And for the listeners who don't know, ADCC, the Abu Dhabi Combat Club, and Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates. It's the premier international submission grappling competition. What that means is it's like the Olympics of grappling. It's held every 2 years, and there's a trials. So you basically get into the final ADCC every 2 year, the final tournament, by either winning trials or being invited. Or if you're a winner from the previous ADCC. Do you guys know how you can be invited to the ADCC?
I think it really kind of depends on a lot of things. Like, just if you're a name, if you have a following, if you can bring eyes to the competition, then you get invites. I know that, like, if you do very well and you don't win the trials, like you get second, third, they always take those people into consideration as well. And then you can always be like an alternate if somebody falls through. But I think those are the main ones, just being big names, and then doing well in the trials.
Yeah, so you don't have to, if you win the trials, you pretty much get a ticket. But if you get second or third, but like have a stunning performance, if you're an exciting fighter, or if you're like if you're a stud in the grappling community, you probably get an invite.
I got my invite, but
Doesn't work that day for you.
Yeah, respectfully, I had to decline.
It's nice of you to give other people a chance.
Yeah, I want to open up a spot for.
So, biggest rule differences in the ADCC versus Grappling Industries. You wanna give us a couple of those?
I mean, it's very, very different. Just the format's different. They have, depending on like if it's an open, trials, or the World Championship, there's 3 rounds. That's always consistent, but the time frame of the rounds gets a little different, a little bit longer in the Worlds and trials. But there's a no points period, there's a points period, and then there's an overtime period. And the points are generally much different than your traditional grappling tournaments, where there's still the takedowns, score you points, but they deem them different. Like if it's a clean takedown, you take somebody down and you end outside of their guard, that's worth 4 points. If you take somebody down and you land in their guard, that's only 2 points. And it's the same thing for sweeps. If it's a clean sweep and you sweep them and you land in side control or mount, 4 points. If it's a sweep that takes you into their guard, like a knee lever, whatever, that's only 2 points. And then they kind of lump in the reversals as a sweep. So like in grappling industries, if you are in side control and you hit a big bridge and you knock them over, there's no points for that because there's no guard ever initiated. But in ADCC, that counts as points. So big differences, and then their controls and everything are much different. So like if you sweep somebody and they land on their side in side control, you don't get any points until you like pin 75% of their back on the mat. So it can be a little bit harder to score in ADCC. And then there's like penalties and stuff for pulling guard in the points period.
One that surprised me the most probably was the escapes. I didn't expect that. Like, so if you're, roll somebody over from the mount or escape side control, but get to top position as a consequence of that escape, usually some kind of bridging escape, you actually get points for that.
I kind of like that. I mean, I don't know why normal grappling tournaments require a guard. Like, isn't the goal to like end up on top, and like all of this is based on like your ability to strike? I mean, you're on top, you're in side control. I feel like you should get points for that. But
yeah. Out of all those rules, what do you guys think? I'll throw this one to Bill because even though he didn't compete in ADCC, I'm sure he's watched a handful of those. Or what rules do you feel like make ADCC more exciting to watch than some of the gi, jiu-jitsu, some of the IBJJF events and all of that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really know the rules to ADCC. But I like how they force people to work from their feet more often. Mm-hmm. I really like that. I like the standing portion of ADCC. I find that to be pretty exciting. Okay. That's a big one for me. Honestly, I think gi jiu-jitsu is a little boring to watch in general. When you have two guys at the highest level, it's a stalemate oftentimes, not a lot of movement and such. So I find no-gi to be more exciting just in general. And the ADCC rules, I think, cater more towards wrestling and a more control-based type of grappling. And I just find that to be more exciting to watch.
For sure, yeah. The pinning aspect of it is, I think, obviously the standing portion. Like, you get penalties if you pull guard in the points period. But then, like, if you take somebody down or if you sweep them, it doesn't count unless you pin them down to the ground. So a lot of people turtle to not get points scored on them, what opens up the opportunity to take the back, which opens up the submission. So I think that all kind of like makes it exciting rather than people just accepting and kind of like playing super defensive.
Let's talk about your first match. What did you know who the guy was? Did you look into him? Like, what were you think? What was your thinking going out on the mat?
Yeah, it was a little funny because went in, weighed in. They put out the brackets late that night. So I looked at my bracket, kind of figured, looking at like who I'm going to go against, and then if I win, who I'll be going up against. And then the day of, the brackets were changed. So I wasn't with the same guy. Okay. I was with a different person. So that kind of threw me for a little loop. I didn't know the guy's like name or anything like that, but he was from 10th Planet HQ. So very good gym. It's like their home gym for 10th Planet. No, I that's in California somewhere. I don't know which California city, but that's their base there with Gio and Boogie and Eddie and all those.
So was Eddie like coaching against you pretty much?
No, it was Gio Martinez was coaching against me, which is kind of cool, man. I mean, one of the guys that like I was watching a lot when I first started. He's been in a whole bunch of ADCCs, very well-known character, and
he competed too.
And he competed as well. So ADCC vet, was at the Worlds multiple times. So it was a cool experience to be going up against one of their guys for sure. Yeah.
So Tom was out there too with you?
Yeah, he surprised me, showed up day of, so showed some support, what was pretty cool. Tom's my like main training partner. So
did he have a chance? Was he able to like get in the coaching seat?
Yeah, he was in the coaching seat. Okay. Tom's a strong but silent type.
I wish he was more silent and private.
Yeah, very different from his actual personality.
No, we love Tom.
Oh, absolutely.
So how did it go with like walk us through the match a little bit, like to your recollection? Obviously it went by quickly, but then you also had an overtime round too.
Yeah. I'll do my best. Whenever I compete, I don't really remember the matches all that well. Going over, watching, and like studying it, I was like, oh man, I forgot I was even in that position. But it started off, I pulled the guard right away. The guy was a wrestler, so I didn't want to wrestle him. I mean, that was my game plan anyways, was to just pull. Got off a few good leg exchanges, felt like I did really well there. He was able to pass my guard, but it was during the no points period, so I elected not to turtle up, which he got on top. I feel like he made the mistake of going back into a leg exchange with me. I got pretty close to a heel hook on him there, but he was able to escape. And kind of like one of the highlights of it was as we're doing this first period, hearing Gio yell out after that exchange, no more legs with him, no more legs. So that was like a pretty cool badge of honor for me to have like one of those top level like leg lockers yell, don't do legs with him anymore. So that was pretty cool. We went into the points period. It was just a back and forth. He ended up taking the turtle position on me. Went for a Peruvian necktie that I defended. And then it kind of just went into like a guard retention for the rest of the match until we went into the OT because no one scored any points during the actual regulation.
I remember there was a moment shortly after the leg entanglement that you had in the beginning that I think he was forced to, after there was a disengagement, you almost took his back. You were like on his back was exposed. He was turtled up.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then there was a moment where, I can't remember which one happened first, but there was a moment where you ended up what looked like the beginnings of a triangle, but he had like a frame inside of the triangle, your leg.
Yep.
So you weren't able to quite, you had like your legs kind of crossed and locked, but clearly he had space inside of the legs. Do you remember which one came first and what were you think? Were you trying to transition to an armbar triangle there? What were you doing?
Yeah. So that came before the back attack the turtle attack I was doing on him. It just came off of like a leg exchange. He withdrew his legs. Whenever you take away the leg, you often leave the upper body behind. So I went for a triangle. Mm-hmm. And it's a sequence I hit a lot in the gym where they try and angle off, but when they angle off, they kind of give me the opportunity to attack an armbar off of it. It's like a sideways armbar sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But he did a really good job of defending. He did a cool defense that haven't encountered before, a way he orientated his hands that made it hard for me to dig in a good grip for that. So he defended really well. And then that kind of leaded into that scramble for me. Taking his back, and that was a big mistake on my part. Part of ADCC is like you never stop. So like you can go off the mat you can go 20 feet on to the like hardwood floor. You can go into the coaching section, the table, whatever, and they just let you go. And we kind of went off into the side. I could have swore I heard somebody tell me stop or something, but I should not have stopped. I had his back, and I kind of just like got up like it was Grappling Industries and like walked to the center. And you see the ref afterwards like shaking his head like, what are you doing, dude? So I kind of just gave up a really advantageous position by mistake there.
Bummer.
Lack of experience in the rule set on my part. So big misplay there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, in Grappling Industries, if you guys, fly into the judging table, you might get disqualified or at least for sure they'll stop the match.
Yeah.
In ADCC, one of the things that kind of makes it exciting for spectators is that there's a lot of finishes, there's a lot of submissions that happen like completely off the mat. It's crazy. So,
yep.
As a spectator, it's just like super sick match, right? Super fun to watch.
Appreciate it.
That's like pretty much every match that you have, right? Like it's you either win like decisively or it's like a drag out war where it's like, oh, like you're biting your nails the whole time. Just super, super exciting to watch. I watched it like 3-4 times in a row, and yeah, sick match. Could have went either way.
Appreciate that, yeah.
you reach the end of that first regular period, and then you find out it's 0-0 and you got overtime. What's going through your head now?
Let's go, baby. Let's win it. That's all that was going through my head. I thought about this kind of situation like tactically, like in the gym, preparing. My whole game was to not wrestle, to play guard. I feel like I'm just a better guard player. So part of the strategy was I can't pull guard in OT. I get a negative point. So I let him kind of like snap me down so I could be in a down position for 3 seconds, which then I'm able to pull guard without a penalty. So kind of let him bring me down. As I was transitioning to the guard, he started to flank me and put me in a pretty precarious position. He ended up putting me in a twister for a good portion of overtime. Yeah, I was in a twister, which was a fully locked twister. And what a twister is just like a spine lock. So twists my body one way, pulls my head the other way. It's an uncomfortable spot, but all that was going through my head was, I know if I get twisted, Eddie Bravo is going to clip this and put it on his Instagram story. So I will not allow myself to be twisted. It was uncomfortable, but pain's only pain, right? So kind of just ate it. Eventually, I was able to escape.
Did you slip his hands off your head? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I untied his hand, pummeled my arm, and then I rolled to the top position and ended up in a crucifix spot with short time. Remember looking up at the clock, and again, maybe a strategical error on my part. It was short time, and I remember thinking to myself, when that hits 15 seconds, we're letting go of the crucifix, and we're going for our back take. We're scoring our points, and we're winning without giving him a chance to reverse or anything like that. So time hit, 15 seconds. I did exactly that. Took his back. As I was taking his back, he rolled violently, and I ended up in the mount. But with such short time, he had his arm trapped underneath my legs. So it wasn't a good enough control for the judges, in their opinion, to award me any like mount points or anything like that. So we ended up going to the very end with 0-0. So definitely if I were to do it again, something I would change, I would just go for it right away, not worry about him countering or anything like that. Give me more time to work and actually score some points. But that's how it ended. It was a good back and forth. The refs ended up giving it to Omar. Props to him. It was a good back and forth match. Tough dude.
Is he a black belt?
I have no idea. No idea. Yeah.
Yeah, watching the match, it seemed as though you use a lot of the gas tank early on those leg attacks. And that maybe played a factor in the match.
It's my style, dude.
I know.
Like you said, like I either win it or it's a back and forth. And I like to just go for the kill. Going for the kill takes a lot of energy. And yeah.
People at the gym, you heard it. Just get them tired, and then
It is my
Achilles heel. If you survive, then you can win it.
Do you think it would have been a different outcome if you didn't put so much effort in kind of that first leg entanglement?
Maybe, but it's like I don't think I can do it any different. That's just my style. Like I'm coming out and I'm going to attack and I'm going to attack, and that's just my guard. It's very forward, very attacking. So if I'm doing it a different way, it's probably just not going to be as effective, right? I think the biggest mistake is just not doing any sort of conditioning before ADCC. What a crazy thing to do. I'm thinking back about it, like, dude, you're so stupid. You're going out to compete at this elite tournament and you're not doing any sort of conditioning. It's nuts. Like watching the flow and people are like, I had a great camp. The weight cut went well. I didn't really do a camp too much. I weighed in with my shoes on and a sweatshirt and I was still 4 pounds under. Like a lot of stuff that I could do differently, better next time. Actually doing some cardio would be on the top of that list. It's going out trying to be an athlete but not training like an athlete is not the move. Not the move there. So things to do better next ADCC. Got 2 years to get it done.
So some good lessons learned there, I think. My reading of the rules of ADCC, I could be remembering wrong here, but I think one of the rules is that you can't roll when someone's on your back.
So I don't know if that's true. I saw a lot of roll and a lot of...
Because my guess is it's because, they're worried about you spiking heads into the ground.
Oh, they might mean it like a forward roll.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what the guy did, though? I thought that's what you were saying.
No, he did like a gator roll, like suicide roll. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. What was tell us about then some of the people you met and what the experience was. Then now you got this. The match is done. The rest of the day, no pressure for you. What did you do, and then what happened on day 2?
Yeah, I met a lot of cool people. With jiu-jitsu, it's not like a lot of other sports where at the highest level, like you can make some money in jiu-jitsu, but it's pales in comparison to the like other professional sports. So a lot of like the elite of the elite are just like walking amongst the people, like where it would never be the case if you were like going golfing. You wouldn't be able to like talk to Tiger Woods, right? You don't get anywhere close to him, but you're sitting there and you're like, oh, there's Nicky Rod, there's John Donaher, there's Gary Tonin. So I was able to meet a few guys. Met my jiu-jitsu idol, Gary Tonin, got a picture with him. I didn't want to be that guy, but I was like, oh man, it's Gary. I gotta get a picture with him. Met him. Talked with John Donaher about a leg entanglement. He gave me some details on that. Jeff Glover, and then Eddie Bravo were the main guys that I kind of like talked with and shot the shit with. Yeah.
Did you see any like really old school guys there, like that were not sort of this generation of competitors, but previous generations?
Yeah. Jeff, he's one.
Jeff Glover?
Jeff Glover.
Didn't Bill Cooper compete?
He may have competed.
Bill the Grill?
Yeah.
Old school.
Yoshida.
I watched this.
Barrett Yoshida?
Barrett Yoshida was there. Actually, a lot of people might not know, but when we go to Grappling Industries, some of those refs are like dudes. So one of the refs that you guys might recognize beat Barrett Yoshida. He submitted him with like a armbar or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so props to the Daisy Fresh boys. They went out there, they did their stuff.
Those two brothers?
Yep.
Gotcha.
He submitted Barrett Yoshida.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, he was pretty pumped about it, rightfully so.
Was Sanjay or any of the Brazilian guys there?
I didn't see Sanjay. I saw Robert Drysdale. He was there coaching one of his guys. I mean, a lot. Just you go through the who's who were there. Mikey Musumeci was there coaching his sister. Yeah, I was like feet from Mikey Musumeci.
He seems like it would be a really nice guy to talk to.
Yeah. I didn't want to bother him because, he's coaching his sister, but I want to be like Darth Rigatoni, He's a cool dude, nice guy. So yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know, Mikey Musumeci he's a pretty young competitor. He trains all day long. He thinks only about jiu-jitsu. And then when he gets home, there's a couple of YouTube clips out there for you to watch. He just eats like 2 entire pizzas that he makes homemade with like homemade ingredients, the finest ingredients in all the land. And it's like 7,000 calories. And he doesn't eat any other meals. He just has the one.
I don't know how he does it.
My spirit animal.
Yeah, cool guy. Very good leg locker. So, yeah.
You got to have an actual conversation for more than just like a couple of minutes, right? More than just like a courtesy, quick thing with who?
Eddie Bravo, yeah. Eddie Bravo.
Edge Bravo.
Yeah, myself and Tom, we chopped it up for a while. If somebody would have come up to talk to him, Eddie would have talked to us all night. What a cool dude. Really nice guy. So that was quite the experience.
Is he all gray now, or is it still?
He has a little bit of salt and pepper still, but yeah, he's getting a little more white.
Is he wearing the goatee or?
He was full beard. He was bearded up. Yeah.
Tom and Eddie Bravo they're like
two peas in a pod.
Those two.
Are you gonna post any of these photos or what?
Yeah, maybe, sure. Yeah. That is my Instagram. The only thing I post on my Instagram is just me taking pictures with cool jiu-jitsu guys. So should add to the collection.
I didn't think I saw my picture on there.
You're definitely on there, dude.
Right, okay.
You're definitely on there. Yeah, it was a cool experience for sure.
So that was day one. So did you stay in the arena for the entire, like, until it closed out?
No. So after I lost my match, I kind of just peaced out. Watched the match over outside, kind of went over it with Tom, talked like strategy, what I'm looking to do next time around, that sort of thing. Then Tom saw Jocko. He went to go talk to Jocko, and I kind of just went up to my room, showered up, and then I was all in my feelings. So I went and got some tattoos. And that's kind of how that night went and met up and had dinner at a nice steakhouse.
Okay, now you got to show your camera the one you can show.
This one right here, got that one. And then I got one. I can't show that. I'd have to take off my pants. But
we're gonna have to crop in to the arm tattoo.
Yeah,
here.
So that's why I haven't rolled yet. I tried, but it's still pretty tender. So giving it 1 or 2 more days and then one.
You got any tattoos, Bill, or no?
Not ones I don't regret.
Used to be something if you had a tattoo. Now it's like, oh man, he's a pure skin, no tattoo.
How much money did you lose in the casinos?
I only did $100. I only put $100 down. I'm not much of a gambler, but I was like, I'm in Las Vegas. Let's go to the blackjack table. I lost it in like 20 minutes. So it's like, that's good enough for me.
Was there an after party or anything?
If there was, I wasn't invited. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of them were staying around, just walking around the hotel. You'd see all the competitors. So I'm sure they're all doing their thing. Hung out with the ADCC refs afterwards, though. They were all knocking back some beers. I was waiting to get my food, and they were just talking to me for like a good hour or so. So,
Was this in a hotel or where was the venue?
yeah, I was at the Westgate Resort. So, like, a bunch of conference centers.
So there was
Just,
a hotel bar there and stuff.
Yeah, multiple bars, multiple restaurants in there. The tattoo parlor that I got my tattoo was in there.
In the hotel?
Yeah, there's like stores. It's like a big spot. So, yeah, I didn't leave my hotel. That's the whole time there. I just stayed in the resort. Yeah.
And then day 2, you were a spectator.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the most exciting match, would you say, that you watched day 2?
Oh, easily Elder Cruz and Achilles Rocha. I think that was in the 8-man, whatever is after the Sweet 16. That was their match, and it was nuts, dude. Going out of bounds, back and forth, dudes jumping on each other's backs, super athletic. It was by far the coolest one, for sure.
Were those final or semi-final matches or quarterfinal matches, whatever, were they longer time? Because I know it was like 6 minutes for the trials, I thought, but I know the final tournament is like 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, all of the trial time periods are the exact same. The only difference in like the finals is that during the no points period, you still can't pull guard without a penalty. So that's the major difference there.
I'm going to jump out here for a second. You guys keep talking about whatever things you saw in the tournament.
Yeah. Big controversies at the end. Did you see them? You see any of the controversies?
Not that I can recall.
One big one was the finals between Adam Trapp, I think his name is. He's a B team guy. And then Michael Pixley.
I don't know about it.
Yeah, a Daisy Fresh guy. Right at the end of the points period, Adam hit Pixley with a waiter sweep, ended up on top, held him down, and no points were awarded.
Oh, I did hear a little bit about that.
Yeah.
The team guys made a video, and I think they talked a little bit about, you mean like a deep half kind of waiter sweep?
Yeah. No, like the traditional waiter sweep.
Oh, like a
Lachlan. Yeah.
They stand up in your guard.
Yeah, so that was like, being there watching it, I was kind of yelling 2. I was like, 2, that's 2. But the rest didn't see it that way. So I've watched it again, and I don't know in what world that's not considered a sweep.
Yeah.
The other one that was kind of a controversy was another B team guy, Vince. He was in the plus 99 kg.
The caveman.
The caveman, yeah, that dude is massive when you are there in person.
Didn't say that he did around with them?
Yeah, he got smother tapped by him, and now he can't feel bad about that because he took second in the West Coast.
Hey, speaking of smother taps, I know this is off topic, but it is very effective.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Me and Michael were playing around a little bit last night. He had a crucifix, covered the nose and the mouth.
Yeah.
I can't believe how fast I had to panic tap, dude.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
About 3 seconds. So I had him keep trying it. When you're out of breath and dude, holy cow.
Yep.
I never thought that was the closest I ever been to death in my life.
I stepped out for a second, but did this come up? Because I did see one submission tap finish from the muffler.
No, I was talking
in ADCC.
J-Rod.
Yeah.
Yep, J-Rod.
So that's what Michael did
his
to me,
mother.
but from a crucifix where my arms were tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the listeners, if you guys have the Flow Grappling, watch one of J-Rod's matches where he actually uses the muffler, which is basically just pinching the nose and covering the mouth, to actually submit one of his opponents in the trials, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've said in the past, there's no way I'd tap to that. Dude, I'm telling you. I tapped faster than any trophy.
You kind of are left with no other options, honestly. But we were talking like controversies of the ADCC, and one being Trapp and Michael Pixley. That was like a big one. And the other, I would say, would be Vince, another B team guy, and an Atos guy. I can't remember his name. I forget his name, but pretty cool story. The dude signed up for 99 plus, and he weighs 175 pounds.
Whoa.
So he's going up against guys that could be anywhere from like, what is 99 plus? I'm bad at math, but like 225 or something like that up. So everybody above 225, the guy's 170, got it to the finals. And in my opinion, he was kind of stalling a little bit. And Vince was on good offense the whole time, but they gave it to the Atos professor. So power to him. What a story, going in at 175, ending up winning 99 plus kg. But I kind of think it was the other way.
Just a unrelated question. Was the ref Brazilian?
So I was talking to a lot of the refs when we were out there. There is a few Brazilian refs, but a lot of them are Finnish.
Interesting.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming, but yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we kind of got to wrap things up here. Any trends or anything we saw in the ADCC that is something we might want to have our competition team implement? Anything that you saw that was like really effective?
Nothing that I can sticks out at the top of my head right now.
I saw a lot of north-south passing.
Yeah, that Rotolo kind of style passing. Yeah, I think that's becoming pretty prominent in jiu-jitsu. Against good guard players, it's just easiest to get furthest away from their legs, right? So north-south is that. I think so.
Was there a lot of submission threat passing?
No, I don't think so.
I think too much.
I think my biggest takeaway from it, and is kind of cool, is like, going in, I thought I was going to just get like smoked. I was like, dang, these guys are high level. But to be there and see how actually like close the margins are. Like even the top names, like J-Rod almost lost in the Sweet 16, almost lost his next one. He almost lost all of his matches all the way up into the finals. So it's pretty incredible to see like, the level of the competition. It was kind of cool knowing that like I'm the razor thin margins, and it's only a little bit of more work, and you're in there. So, yeah, I think it's hard to get submissions going, but it was cool to just know like a little more work, and that could be you up there. So that was my main takeaway from ADCC.
You heard it here. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you next time. Peace.